anyway.
If you could sit down in front of Arteta, you and him, unfiltered conversation, what are you saying to the man?
A bit of advice. Make yourself hard to beat. Do you get what I mean? Like, teams are pulling up and with no fear whatsoever. The teams are going, you're losing 2-0 to Brentford. Do you get what I mean? First thing, make yourself hard to beat. You spent over their defense. They've spent stupid money on their defense. Over 100, nearly 200 mil in the past couple seasons. Right? You're gonna see the Goliath. The Goliath.
I'm a sergeant, my time like an Abri. Gatsby got me feeling great. I got a false 9 and an anchor. My wind is just there for the bait. Still, I know Nasby, you'll stand your old Adebayo. If I score this goal in a glide, Oliver Twist, man, I want some. I got 3 out of the top, that's 4-3-3. My Spaniel boy racing clubs. When it comes to the new regime, if I shoot a shot like Haaland, I just want me a chocolate darling. Belgian thing I defend like Van Marlin. Aim high, just shoot for the target. Me done talking.
Yes, people, you already know what it is. We're back live and direct. It's free up top with Dan the man with the plan, and Darren the blood clot cannon. You know,
I can't. Yeah, that's TBC. That's to be confirmed. That's to be confirmed.
Darren the blood clot cannon. Nah, I like it, man. I like it. I can't like
that one's on loan for now. Still, we'll take it for now.
Nah, I hear it still, but obviously. 3 up top, but 2 up top today.
And we virtual,
of course. Obviously, things happen, but the show has to continue. The show has to carry on, especially considering what's happened this week. So much to get into, so much to dissect. Good to throw it back with the homie. You know where it started, man. You know it was only us two. Started it in a little room, in a little chamber. We're cooking up a little episodes here and there, so
they weren't with us shooting in the gym.
For real, man. Word to Rick Ross. But nah, man. Bro, what you saying, man? How's your week been? How you been doing?
It's been good, man. It's been a long week, but it's been a week full of emotions, man. You know, from being down, being upset, being drained.
Yeah.
Not in terms of like personal stuff, just in terms of the news. And how things were going, but listen, complete 180. And the past couple of days I've been elated, man. Today I wasn't really chuffed with the performance and that, but listen, the bigger news and the real groundbreaking news had me chuffed, man. Just chuffed.
Definitely, even away from football, though. What you saying, man? Like, Kanye's album. I don't know if you listened to it yet.
I ain't listened to it yet. Still, what's it saying?
Yeah, you need to give it a listen. And a couple people talking about how it's demonic and that. But people have always got their theories and all of that, man.
Yeah, listen, you know what you're getting with Kanye anyway. It's always going to be outside the box, and especially this new Kanye. You know what I mean? But no, I'll definitely check it out. Still, I got a lot of I've been listening to a lot of music and pods recently, so yeah, I'll definitely give it a listen still.
Facts. Obviously, just to link it to the football a bit before we get into the real crux of the football, but it's still related to football. Obviously, I was at Young Carnival yesterday. It was a vibe, good vibes. Obviously, seen Thomas Partey there.
Who's there? Front line. Partey.
Yeah, whilst his team was getting smacked. I don't even know what's the protocol with your team. Obviously, if you're not in the squad, I would still tell my players you have to be at the game. I don't know about you. Yeah,
bro. I want to see you in a box with your wife and kids, bro.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
and if you ain't got wife and kids, I need to see your mum and dad.
Nah, but literally, so for me, I was thinking, bro, come on. I know it was funny to see, I don't support Arsenal, so I couldn't give a toss, but bro, that is unprofessional to the highest.
Not a good look.
Not a good look. But hey, man, maybe I should have got a picture with him. For next time.
Yeah, Arsenal fans would have been hella bitter.
I think they don't even. That's not even at the front of their mind. Maybe before it might have been, but now there's bigger issues, bigger fish to fry, man. it's not about Partey being at Yam Carnival, which was dead from the organisers' perspective. It was the people that made it live. But that's away from, that's neither here nor there. That's away from what we're about to talk about. But yeah, I digress. Cool. You obviously alluded to it already. I think the biggest news since this year, especially with all the transfers that's happened, but one of the biggest news in terms of like just how the fairy tale has been, the story, the homecoming, CR7. Obviously, we've seen two of the GOATs of football leave their respective clubs. Messi going to PSG caused absolute mayhem. It was huge. But I'd argue that this is even bigger just because of the fact that he's going back to where he started or where he made his name.
Come on.
Yeah, man. CR7, I mean, I'll leave that to you, man. That's all you, bro. What do you think about the Glazers bringing back CR7, Rio, Sir Alex, everything to do with that, and what it means for the club, innit?
I'm chuffed, man. I'm chuffed. I was upset, man. Genuinely upset. Like, not. I was just like disheartened, fam. When I thought that he was gonna go City, it was like a stomach punch. Just feels like one of your legends of the club. You know, who's still rapping in 30 goals, still at the peak of his powers, is, you know, going to the other side of the city, and you know what he's capable of. You know what I mean? And in that team, you're scared that he's gonna come Old Trafford, do a madness, win them the league, win them the champs, but the tables turned, man. Kudos to Sir Alex. I said it, man. Bye. We thank you, man. We thank you, because listen, I'm sure without his involvement, you know, things wouldn't have progressed as quickly as they did. Rio as well played a big role, as the reports have said. Obviously, they said that he was literally the go-between, you know, communicating Ronaldo's demands to United, which is like a big role. Do you get what I mean? So credit to him, and credit to the people at United that got it done, man. I know it makes financial sense, so I'm not going to give them too much credit. Do you get what I mean? Like, everyone benefits from having a guy like that come back to the club. But as far as, you know, from a fan perspective, in terms of the on the pitch benefits, it's going to be drastic, man. Like, what he brings to the team is guaranteed goals. You know, we saw the impact that Cavani had last season. And he didn't even play like a lot, like the whole season. Yeah, I mean, he played a portion of the season, and he's not the player that nowhere near the player that Cristiano Ronaldo is. Firstly, he's a legend of the club, and he's arguably the greatest of all time. Do you get what I mean? So take Cavani's impact and times that by 1 million, and that's the kind of impact that Ronaldo's gonna have. The youngsters, I think he's just gonna elevate everyone's level. Like, I'll start with Oli. All of the nonsense tactically that we see from Oli, I think he's a bit too soft on the players as well. That shit is not gonna run with Cristiano Ronaldo at the helm. Because for me, he pulls up and he's steering the shit now. He's the captain now. Do you know what I mean? In all senses of the word. So listen, if you can't keep up to his level, then he's gonna have words. And if the words don't bang, he's gonna have words. He's gonna go to the top. Do you get what I mean? Yeah, man, I think loads of decisions that Oli has made that have been questionable. If Ronaldo's not happy, he's going to call him up on it. And I think that is crucial. Like, from a fan perspective, I think that's going to have a big impact. As I said, the players, their performance is going to be upped. I think their attentiveness is going to be up, because now you're going into training. You want to impress Ronaldo. Do you know what I mean? You want to show him that I can play with you. I'm worthy. Do you get what I mean?
And that's the key thing. Like, the players who will play with Ronaldo, because at the end of the day, when you sign a guy like Ronaldo, 36 or 39, like, he's going to play. He's going to start most of the games, and he will say when he wants to play as well. Like, I've seen some people speak about how he might get rested and that. No, Ronaldo's here to play. He's fit. He's raring to go. He wants to play all games. He'll play every single game of the season if he can. Sure. And I think that one thing that definitely, or I'll pose it to you actually, I'd rather want you to answer this. How do you think, though, in terms of everyone impressing, yes, we know, but once you get your full squad back, guys like Cavani, guys like Rashford, guys like Greenwood in particular, how do these guys feature more into the side? Obviously, everyone's saying Martial and Dan James, further down the pecking order, but there's still only 3 slots that can be filled. We've seen Pogba play left wing and be good there. Will that be something that we see more often? If that is the case, Greenwood, who has started the season firing, what happens to him? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, this isn't a signing where competition increases. Ronaldo has a spot guaranteed, as in it's not even.
Not only does he have a spot, the team is built around him.
Do you know what I'm saying? So for him, so now what happens? Like, because there's practically only 2 slots left, and you've got Pogba, for example.
Sancho is still there as well.
Sancho's still there.
Listen, obviously, if I think it's a meritocracy, as you always said, you know, Lampard saw the dream of that being the case. I think when you're talking about C-Ron being in the building, firstly, he is the number 9 straight. Like, as you said, he's going to play as many games as he can. He loves ball. He wants to play. He's going to be banging up top. So the mission is create chances for him. And that has been a huge issue for us for a number of years, that we don't create enough chances for our number 9. Yeah, I mean, now Ronaldo's not going to stand for that. Oli, now it's on Oli. You have to build a system in which you're constantly creating chances for your striker, because you got Cristiano Ronaldo up there. So in terms of the spots, I think the Pogba one's very interesting because he played. I thought he was okay. Yeah, he had a bad first half, good in the second half, but I think Fred, you know, he dragged everyone down with him. But Pogba is a sticky one, whether he plays on the left, and Rash is back sooner than we thought. Do you get what I mean?
So I'm asking you though. Make the call though. What you seen?
It depends, fam. I would say it depends. Like, for now, short term, for me, Greenwood does not leave the lineup. Greenwood starts on the right for me, 100%.
And Sancho drops to the bench.
It depends. It depends, because Pogba right now, he's flourishing on that left-hand side. So for me, yes, Pogba's on the left, Bruno in the 10, so Sancho on the right.
Clarify. Wait, say that again?
I said Pogba on the left, Bruno in the 10, Sancho on the right.
Greenwood on the right, you mean?
So yeah, sorry, I meant Greenwood. So yeah, I meant Greenwood on the right. That's what I'm going with in the short term. But when Rashford comes back, when Sancho catches form, for me, you got to bring Pogba back into midfield, start controlling games a little bit more, and get either Sancho or Rashford out on the left. But I can't lie, Mason Greenwood if he doesn't come out the team for me, because he has bailed us out in back-to-back weeks right now, saved us 4 points. So for me, he stays in the lineup. But what do you think, though? You know, from an outside perspective, what do you think our best front three is?
Look, it's a tough one. I think Ronaldo is a like a ground shaking move. Like it's something that basically rocks the earths of your club. Like it changes things. It changes perspective. I worry. The only reason why I say I worry is because I still don't believe that you have the manager in place to take you to where you want to be. I think Oli is disrespected, but not good enough at the same time. I think both can exist. I think they're both true. I think he's shown in many cases that he can manage. I think he's shown in many cases that he can coach. But at the same time, I've also seen ways and times where he's just inept and not been able to kind of articulate maybe what he envisions for his team. So the hardest thing to do is get a team from being on the cusp to getting over the top. And that's what we're trying to do right now. So exactly. So the reason why I worry is because, for example, we can use today and even use Southampton last week as an example in the last 2 weeks. And it makes you think, because I asked the question in the first week, can we bring in the fact that Leeds play a style which suits you to a T, and the fact that you scored so many goals against them last season, can we use that as an excuse? That isn't the real Man United. I think we've seen the real Man United in the last 2 weeks against Wolves and Southampton, where, in my opinion, with all the attacking talent you have, I think you should be the best attack in the league. Man for man, your attack is better than every single team's attack. Bruno, Pogba, whether it be Rashford, Sancho, Greenwood,
Cavani.
It's better than every front five in the league. Front six, Cavani, Adi Cavani. It's better than every front six in the league, including Man City. including Chelsea, including Liverpool, better than all of them. You've got the strength and depth. You've got different ways of playing. You can go with Sancho if you want to create from out wide. You can go with Greenwood if you want to get goals from out wide. You can go with Rashford, who can go up top, who can go out wide. You've now got Ronaldo. You've got Cavani, who's a poacher. You've got it all. You've got all the tools. You've got Pogba. You've got Bruno. You've got guys who can unlock doors. So for me, there's really no excuses as to how your team is failing to click. I mean, I would have expected more than 2 goals in the last 2 games. Do you know what I'm saying?
I think an explanation is though that we just haven't got someone that can dictate from deep and pin teams back.
I don't think it's that. Personally, for me, when you think about, I'll answer it by saying how you need to play when Ronaldo is here. It's not even about being able to pin teams back, because for me today, I saw disorganization in the counter press. How do you retrieve the ball? That's another question in terms of Man United. How do you retrieve it? Because I saw in many cases, of course, Adama Traore, yes, fair enough. We know what he's able to do. And he's kind of like an outlier because not many players in the league can do what he's able to do. But I saw it against Southampton where you were getting overrun. And the reason for you getting overrun in some instances is because of how you set up, where your starting positions are. How are you trying to win the ball back as a team? Do you know what I'm saying? You had a guy like
we're also stuck in between, fam, because we're not doing either. We're not counter pressing and we're not recovering. Do you get what I mean? You have to choose one or the other. It's either you try and win the ball back high, or you recover, you set up, and you win the ball back and hit teams on the break. And we're doing neither.
Yeah, and I guess look, what it comes down to is Man United are continuing to add top level talent. Like, I don't think you can complain about this window. I don't think you can complain about the transfers. I think it's almost been, I'd say, DM away from being A star. Like, I think it was an A transfer window for you guys. So A plus, in fact. Like, but at the end of the day, what it comes down to for me is that you've added a match winner in Ronaldo, who will win you games. That's inevitable. He's done that his whole career and he won't stop now. Scored about 30 goals for Juve, was top goal scorer in Serie A last season, so he will still score goals for you. It's just about how much can you rely on individual talent to carry you, relying on individual talent to save you at the back, relying on individual talent to score you goals, relying on individual talent to win a tackle and nick it and then get it. It doesn't feel like it's planned. It doesn't feel like it's systematic. It feels like everything is whether or not the players can be bothered on any given day.
Exactly.
Let's not get it twisted. Personally, for me, last 2 games, I don't think he deserved any points. I know the bigger team will always put pressure when they're losing, like against Southampton. Southampton obviously naturally sat back and all, but I think in another situation, you wouldn't have got points in that game. Wolves again today, bro. I'll put it up for the people at home to see. Their XG was 3 to 0.66. You had Sancho, Cavani, Greenwood, Pogba, Bruno. 0.66 is not good enough. Do you know what I'm saying? So, look, Ronaldo is a game changer. You lot are even more in the title race now. In fact, let me ask you the question that the Gary Neville was shifting on. Where does Ronaldo put you in the title race now?
In terms of expectations or realistically?
No, in terms of expectations, as in you've got
expectations to win the league.
Cool.
Like, for me, if we don't win the league, then we've underachieved.
Cool.
Yeah, like for me, there's no excuses. There's no more excuses. You've got Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yeah.
You know, Cavani was actually expected to go to, I don't know, he had like some fixtures in Uruguay or whatever, so he's going to leave during the season, and that would have been a big blow. But now you've got Cristiano Ronaldo, who is going to be there permanent. You got what I mean? Whether Cavani's here or not, Cristiano Ronaldo will be up top. So, I think the excuses are done, man. Like, it's on Oli to get the best out of the squad. And as you were saying, today and against Southampton, it just felt like there was no plan. Do you get what I mean? Like, there's no approach. The guys aren't on the same page. It feels like they were strangers and just linked up today and said, yeah, let's go kick. And for me, that's shocking. Like, there's no way that you can have that amount of talent and not have them on the same page. Like, that is football 101. You know what I mean? You can't just go out there and say, oh, guys, go and have fun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You got to have You got to have some principles. Do you get what I mean? It feels like we have nothing that we're banking on. Like, it just feels like we're going out there and hoping that our talent wins us games. And listen, I said it constantly, man. All these got work to do. Like, and I think that's why I like the Cristiano Ronaldo edition even more off the pitch than on the pitch. Do you get what I mean? Because as I said, he elevates everyone's level and he dispels all the excuses from Oli, from the players around him. You have to perform. And if you're not, Ronaldo will hold you accountable, including Oli. Do you get what I mean? So listen, if you're not ready to rise to the level of greatness, listen, you're not gonna get your game time, no matter who you are.
100%. Cool. Fam, you heard it here first. Man United need to be winning the league. Like that's the minimum expectation. You had a guy like Ronaldo, best player in the world, bro. You might not borderline super team. You've got about 8 players. I would say a lot of fans would say either are world class or have world class potential. Like that's like almost unheard of in many situations.
Literally about 7-8 players, bro.
Yeah,
because we ain't even talked about our backline.
Yeah, literally. So yeah, man. But what I wanted to touch on was also, I mean, with CR7, the other club in Manchester that was involved in that deal, who it looked very, very likely he was going to go to, Man City. So you obviously have CR7 that Man City missed out on. They missed out on Harry Kane this summer. It's looking increasingly likely, having started what Harry Kane's playing like the last 2-3 games now. They missed out on Messi, and they could potentially miss out on Haaland as well. Because the rumor is that if he doesn't go PSG this summer, he's going to go PSG at the next available window or next available summer window. So Man City have had 2 back-to-back 5-0 wins against Arsenal and Norwich. Their lack of a striker hasn't affected them so much. So, I mean, lack of a striker kind of affected them against Tottenham, you could argue, because they lacked a clinical edge in that game. True. But yeah, what do you think about City missing out on all the strikers that they wanted? Like, do you think that this could cost them in the long run?
In the long run, I don't think it will cost them because they will rectify whatever things they missed out on. Do you get what I mean? Like, City don't sleep on the job. You know what I mean? Just because they missed out on one opportunity doesn't mean that they're not going to address it down the line. I think more so in the short term is where it affects them. I think Ronaldo would have been a stupid addition to them. Do you know what I mean? The way they pin teams back, create chances consistently, create overloads on the wings with the cutbacks. Ronaldo will be feasting on those. But similarly, they missed out on Messi, missed out on Haaland and Harry Kane. They are big misses. I think, as you said, the last 2 games it hasn't been evident, but against Tottenham it was. I think they'll struggle against the big teams. But I still think they're going to be in one of the favourites to win the league. And they're still one of the best teams in Europe. Do you get what I mean? And I think it comes down to the fact that they're so confident in how they play that they're always going to be able to produce. Do you know what I mean? Because the way they play always brings results. Secondly, the confidence that you have when you have a guy like Pep Guardiola, who is like the perfect coach when you're talking about tiki-taka, possession football, whatever. Pep Guardiola is the perfect guy for that. And the amount of confidence that you have when you know that this is how we play, whoever's on the pitch, this is how we're going to play. Do you get what I mean? Don't matter if you've got a number 9, doesn't matter if you've got a false 9. This is how we're going to play. We're going to score goals. We're going to create chances. And we know, man, confidence is the key to everything. Do you get what I mean? And I think that because hard work breeds confidence. Do you get what I mean? And because they're so well drilled, they're so in tune with how they play, I feel like, it will hurt them in the big games because obviously you ain't got killer number 9. But I still think, Pep will figure things out. And they still got quality ballers, man. Quality ballers.
City have one of the best teams, or one of the best teams ever assembled, like in history. Like this is a very, very good collection of ballers that they've managed to put together. However, I'll go one step further than you. Look, at the end of the day, the main focus from Pep Guardiola is to win the Champions League, and I don't think they're capable of winning the Champions League with the current squad. I don't think they're capable, and the reason why I say that is it ties in nicely anyway with the big piece of news from Manchester City where it's been reported that Pep Guardiola wants to leave or will leave at the end of the 2023 season. So this year and then next season is his last season. And he practically has 2 years to win the Champions League. For Pep Guardiola to leave Man City and not have won the Champions League, it's one of the biggest failures that we've seen from one of the best coaches that we've seen. It is, no doubt in my mind anyway. Obviously, you can touch on that a bit, but no doubt in my mind. Because, look, he's not a failure. Of course he's not a failure. We know he's not a failure. What he's done in the league, 100 points, winning the title back-to-back in a time where it's very, very tough to win back-to-backs. Obviously, he's been to a Champions League final. He's won a litter, take your pick of domestic trophies. But the point comes down to this. The reason why, just a bit like Roman Abramovich's main aim and main mission statement, the reason why Man City sacked Pellegrini, someone who won them the Premier League, and brought in Pep Guardiola is because they wanted to elevate. They've won the Premier League now. They want to win the Champions League. And that's why they brought in Pep Guardiola. Pep Guardiola, if he doesn't win the Champions League for Man City, it's one of the biggest failures we've seen from a manager who is considered to be on par with Sir Alex. But
don't you think the fact that they didn't bring in a striker not gives them an excuse, but it justifies the fact that
it doesn't.
They're not going to be better than last year?
No, not at all. Because
so you're putting that on Pep when they haven't brought in a striker?
Yes, I'm putting that on Pep. Of course, I'm putting it on Pep because he's had ample opportunities to win the Champions League for one. Got to a semi-final.
We're talking about now, though. We're not talking
about... No. We're talking about it because this is me saying him not winning the Champions League, so it's collective. I take all the evidence from all the years that he's been at Man City. He's had ample opportunities to win the Champions League. I mean, he's seen some of his best players, or he's seen some of the players he signed become some of the best players in the world. KDB, one of the best midfielders, if not the best midfielder in the world. He's had Aguero, he's had David Silva, he's had Fernandinho, he's had Edison. I mean, he bought Kyle Walker, he bought Laporte, he bought Ruben Diaz. Like, how many players in this team currently now are Pep players? Almost every single one of them are Pep players. And all the signings that they have made have all been catered towards trying to win the Champions League. I mean, we could talk about Lyon, we could talk about Chelsea, we could talk about the fact that he wasn't able to win in Bayern Munich and he kind of got given a bye for that. I don't know why, but he got given a bye for that. So
I think that was criminal.
And the year after he leaves, Flick wins it.
Clean sweep.
Clean sweeps. So that's just something that we've got to think about. Do you know what I'm saying? Well, no, it wasn't the year after he left. Obviously, not the year after he left, but Flick clean sweeps the everything. Like he won everything on offer. Something Pep also did in Barcelona. So Pep will have that messy thing over his head, in my opinion, when it comes to the Champions League if he's not able to do it there.
Sure.
And yeah, they need to. The killer instinct that they have in these games against Arsenal. I'm sorry to associate Arsenal with Norwich, but we'll get into that. Against the Norwiches, against all the other small teams in this league, bro, they can do damage. They can win that. This is even without Phil Foden. Phil Foden's not even back yet.
KDB is not back.
KDB's not fully back yet. So for me, personally, he has no excuses. I don't care if money wasn't you get the job done.
I think I agree once you zoom out that he had no excuse because this is his 5th year at City?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, do you get what I mean? Once you zoom out and look at his whole tenure, then yeah, I agree that he had no excuse winning the Champions League. But I think when you're talking about short term this season and this season, they didn't bring in a striker. Do you get what I mean? Obviously that's a different point, but I'm just saying expecting them to win the Champions League this season is a fair expectation, but I'm not gonna, say it's a huge failure of a season if they don't win the Champions League this season.
No, I still think it is. The whole point of all the targets from this season, from last season to this season, were you got to the Champions League final and you won the Premier League title. Next year you won the Champions League. That's how life works.
No, for sure.
You assess One sec.
Go on.
Spent £100 million. You broke your transfer record. Break your transfer record on a striker. Don't tell us, the people who are analysing the situation, that
they did it.
No. But that's not our fault. Coach is coach. Pep is required to coach the team that he has available to him and make do with what he has and achieve the results. Man City have limitless and endless resources. So for me personally, saying that even in the short term, saying because they didn't bring in a striker, we can't call them not winning the Champions League a huge failure is besides the point for me. There are 3 teams, in my opinion, who have huge expectations this year, regardless of the circumstances. What, you think Poch can tell me that he didn't bring in the defenders that he
added Messi? Poch just added
Messi.
Messi.
Of course. But it's got the same principles to it. Like, because I have too many attacking players in my team, and I wanted a bit more solidity around the defensive side of things, I can't have that expectation. Like, no, that's not how football works. Coaches coach.
Poch arguably had one of the best windows in the history of football. Do you get what I mean? I still think that's what I said. The expectation is still to win the Champions League. Do you get what I mean? But I think to take them to another level, you should have added a striker. Do you get what I mean? Like, if I'm Pep and I'm seeing that we didn't add a striker, do you know what I mean? When Harry Kane was available, Cristiano Ronaldo was available. Do you know what I mean? I'm saying, yo, like, I needed someone like that to put us over the top. Do you know what I'm saying? Obviously, the expectation is still to win it, but I'm not gonna, criticize him the way I would across his whole tenure, in the short term.
No, but this is what I'm saying. This is why the short term can skew the opinion as a whole, in my opinion, because let's think about it like this. This is his second to last year. Let's assume the reports that he's leaving next year at the end of next season is right. This is second to last year. If he doesn't win the Champions League, he has basically 1 year to win the Champions League. If he doesn't win the Champions League after his time is done, we're not going to look back at it and say, do you know what? Let's take out this year because he didn't have a striker. Let's take out this year because he didn't have KDB. Let's take out this year because... No. Man City...
that's looking at across the whole tenure.
But that's why I'm saying, looking at it just in the short term, for me, skews the whole opinion because I'm combining the short term with the whole tenure. I'm looking at how I would look at it when I'm judging the whole tenure. So if we break down, exactly. Zooming out, zooming in, the same, like doing this, like, bro, if we zoom out, we're looking at across his whole tenure. If we zoom in, I'm not pointing out the fact that, this season where Aguero left, he wanted a striker. Bro, I'll counter that by saying they literally broke their transfer record. Like, they broke the is Grealish not the British transfer record as well?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they broke the British transfer record. They broke their own transfer record. They broke their status quo because for all the money they've spent, they've never spent that much on a player. No, that means they put so much trust and emphasis on the fact that this is the player that could potentially do damage with them when they've got everyone fit and firing. So I'm sorry. Yeah,
I agree in it, but maybe it's just a personal thing, innit? Because as I said, I don't think Grealish is going to have the impact of a £100 million player for City.
But that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter.
Go on.
That feeds. Oh, okay, fair enough. That makes sense.
Do you know what I'm saying? Because
why you're saying that, but for me, that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you think if Tom, Dick, and Harry think Grealish, £100 million player, he won't have the impact of a £100 million player because we don't think he's worth £100 million. City thought he was worth £100 million. Yeah, they might have wanted to play lower, but the reason why they paid £100 million in the end to get their man is because they believe he was £100 million. Like, you only spend that kind of money on a player that you think is worth that much.
They think he's going to be the difference between
winning. Yes, 1,000%. That's why they spend that money, bro. You don't spend 50 million upwards on a player you don't believe can bring something of value. Tell me a £50 million player that wasn't expected to add value to their team instantly, instantaneous impact, something different.
But that goes back to the point I made prior that the hardest jump to make is being at the top and becoming the number one. Do you get what I mean? And that's why I say the lack of a striker or lack of bringing in Messi, lack of bringing in Ronaldo, that's going to hurt them, innit? But as I said, the expectations are still to clean sweep. It has to be. You're the elite team.
I mean, we'll see, man. We'll see. I mean, I guess what it comes down to is now we've got a real title race on our hands in terms of the teams that are involved and what they've been able to do. I mean, we've been speaking about the top of the table. Let's do a quick 360. Is it 360? 180?
Quick jog down to the bottom of the table.
Jog down to the bottom, straight line down. From top to bottom, Arsenal Football Club, 20th position after 3 games, 9 goals conceded, 0 goals scored. I mean, it's not been impressive. It's not been impressive at all.
Yeah, no, they've been shocking, bro. They've been shocking, like they've been And the thing is, the more that remember I was saying on the show last week, I actually feel bad for my boys and Arsenal fans in general because they're falling out of love with the sport.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That is how you know you've hit rock bottom. Do you know what I mean? It feels like AFTV are the only guys that actually give a shit anymore.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because Arsenal are in the complete tank. And even some of the AFTV lot are starting to lose love, by the way. I can see it in their eyes. But yeah, man, I can't lie. I said it last week as well, man. Arteta is just not the guy. Like, he's not the guy, man. Like, at all. I don't see what they're trying to do. I don't see an approach. I don't see a mental strength. I don't see a discipline. The performance against City was just a monstrosity. Like, you're down to 10 men, but you're still trying to play a high line. You're giving City all the space in the world in the midfield. Like, that is criminal. And you coach those guys. So you know the damage that they can do. Yet you're still allowing them to dominate the ball with no pressure, no nothing. No, you're not trying to combat them in any way.
If you could sit down in front of Arteta, you and him, unfiltered conversation, what are you saying to the man?
First thing I'm saying, and bro, I ain't got all the answers, Sway. Do you know what I mean? I have not got all the answers.
Bro.
But a bit of advice, make yourself hard to beat. Do you know what I mean? Like, teams are pulling up and with no fear whatsoever. The teams are going, you're losing 2-0 to Brentford. Do you know what I mean? First thing, make yourself hard to beat. You spent over their defense. They've spent stupid money on their defense. Over 100, nearly 200 mil in the past couple seasons. Ramsdale, Ben White,
David Luiz,
Cedric, all of these guys, Nuno Tavares,
Tierney,
Pablo Mari. Do you know what I mean?
No. Do you know what? Let's play a little game. Ramsdale, does he get into any of the teams that got into the top 4 last year?
Top 4?
That's what
Ramsdale is not a Premier League goalkeeper.
Nuno Tavares.
Nope, nowhere near in any of the teams. Nowhere near the
Pablo Mari.
Pablo Mari is not a Premier League centre back.
David Luiz. When they bought him,
David Luiz is washed. Like he looked good for them, but he's washed.
Who else did they buy? Gabriel. Would you say he goes?
Gabriel, I think, is the only decent signing. Like, you could argue.
I don't think he gets into any team.
I don't think he gets into any team.
But he can be a squad player.
Yeah, do you get what I mean? I think he can sit on Liverpool's bench with like Joe Gomez and Konate, them and there.
Cool. And then you've obviously got Kieran Tierney, who's probably their biggest shining light.
Yeah.
Who probably gets into a couple teams.
Yeah, exactly.
Cedric.
Tierney's the only one. Cedric is whack. Southampton let him go. Do you get what I mean? So, God knows why they even signed him from Southampton.
So for me, even if we take out David Luiz, they've signed Ben White. Ben
White is not ready, fam. They're putting so much on his plate when the guy was banging on the back three for Brighton, expecting him to be the saviour. Like, who is making these decisions?
So, like, for me, that there lies the issue. How much of it, as much as, we might think that Arteta is an inept coach, how much of it comes down to the tools that he's been given? Look, there's a fine line between coaches need to coach, and I'm big on that. We need to see coaching. Like, sometimes everyone making excuses about us. That's why when Man United fans tell me that they need a DM to compete, I disagree. I believe that when if you've got a coach who can coach your team, you can fill, you can plug gaps, you can fill holes. You don't always need the bro. What Chelsea were called individual errors FC under Lampard. Tell me what defender has been added to Tuchel's Arsenal. We have not added one defender yet. Sure. Between Tuchel and Lampard, not one defender. Bro, we went from being individual errors after individual error after individual error to basically the best defense in the league since Tuchel's come in. In Europe, fam, since Tuchel's come in. So don't tell me that the players that you have at your disposal can't be coached. Bro, that's the reason why they made it pro. They need to be coached. They need to be led in a certain direction. However, even though Arteta does need to take a lot of the blame in terms of his coaching side of things, bro, give the man some help. We've listed off about 5 out of 7 players that I think he signed that have been made under his stewardship, and none of them get into the top 4. None of them get into maybe the top 6 even. Because we can add Leicester into the pack. We can even add maybe Tottenham into the pack. None of them get into those teams. So, like, does it help that he hasn't been given good players to coach?
But I can't lie, I'm not going to give him that excuse, because the guys that are at the Liverpools, the Chelseas, they ain't going to Arsenal. They are not going to Arsenal. Do you know what I mean? That's a downgrade. You wouldn't even leave Leicester. Tielemans would not leave Leicester to go to Arsenal. Do you know what I mean? So these guys ain't trying to go to Arsenal. That's why I think it's on Arteta's head. Do you know what I mean? The accountability is on Arteta. Do you know what I mean? The buck stops with the manager. And as you said, tactically, they are not good. Do you know what I mean? They're not hard to play against. They don't create chances. They don't score goals. Like, what's the, as I said with Ollie, what's the principles of your team? What's the strengths? What's the weaknesses? When I'm scouting you, what am I scared of? Do you know what I mean? When it comes to Arsenal, it just feels like, again, it's another team that's trying to, go out there, have fun, and let's see how things turn out. I don't know. How do you think about this? Because Keown, after the match yesterday, was saying that Arteta overcomplicated it for the players. Did you see that, or how did you feel about yesterday's game tactically? Because I can't lie, I thought it was just a disgrace.
I think he had the right approach. Back 5 made sense. Obviously, everyone said he made a mistake not playing the back 5 against Chelsea. Had beaten Chelsea the last 2 times playing the back 5. So everyone wanted him to go into that back 5 just to give them a little bit more solidity. Let's be honest. No matter what system, no matter what formation, no matter what tactics you told the players, I don't think they were going to win that game. However, there is a way to go about it. You can put yourself about it. And to be honest, I watched the game. First 7 minutes before the goal, they looked bright. They look decent, popping the ball about here and there. No, they did. They did look bright. There was a clear game plan in place. But for me, it comes more from a mentality point of things. Not being able. Look, let me show you. Let me show you the difference between coaches. Arteta, Chelsea, Arteta, Tuchel. Sorry. Chelsea get the red card. Are heated. We're getting yellow cards left, right, and centre. Whether or not Anthony Taylor is a scam or not is besides the point. I mean, I won't go into that, but they're heated. You can see that everyone's going mad about the red card. Tuchel uses halftime to calm the players down, and we see one of the best defensive performances from a team going to one of the hardest, pitches on earth, on this earth, Anfield. Like going 10 down, 10 man, being 10 man. Yeah, what's the English now? Having 10 men. Yeah, being down to 10 men. Thank you, Jesus. That was tough, man. English was just kicking me up and down. But going down to 10,
it's fatigue.
It's fatigue, man. It's fatigue. Going down to 10 men against Liverpool should be a loss. 45 minutes against Liverpool 1-1. Yeah, forget it. There's no team. I don't even care. Even if you lose 2-1, you are losing the game. Do you know what I mean? Like, you are not staying in that game. But bro, there was even an argument that Chelsea made the best chance of the second half to win the game. Do you know what I'm saying? And that comes from Tuchel, mental shift. Tells the players, you need to calm down, you need to chill. This is what we need to do. This is where you need to be, being well-drilled, da-di-da-di-da. It's almost as if they were never prepared for that ultimatum. You can go down to 10 men at any moment. How do you react to that? Have you not trained? Have you not studied that? Have you not looked into ways you can do? You can react to that
priority for them to be hard to beat.
No, but yeah, exactly. And the fact that isn't a priority, what that tells me is that you don't understand who you are, bro. Let's not put up. Arsenal are not that same Arsenal with the DNA of playing pretty football anymore. Let's get that out of our heads. The sooner Arsenal realise they are far long gone from the days of Wenger, the better for them.
For sure.
Why do you think so many people have bantered United about Fergie and bro, Fergie days are gone. New identity, fresh identity in the new body. Like it's new. Like you got to forget about that. That's not what's going to happen. Yeah, you can make comparisons to it and say why we need to play like this, or you could say if Fergie had this crop of players, we'll be able to do this. But that doesn't dispute the fact that it's different. The guy that you had before isn't there. So he needs to know who he is and know the players he has, what they are capable of, and then go from there. That's why, for me, personally, a manager coming into a club with a certain ideology, but seeing the players that he has and the players that he will potentially have, knowing the transfer kit he will have available to him, is silly. Do you know what I'm saying? The reason why Sean Dyche will not succeed at Man City is because he won't be able to adapt. He won't be able to change the identity that he has created for himself. The best manager in the world.
I think you got to find a balance, though, because you need to have an ideal scenario of how you want your team to look.
You need to have an identity, of course. You need to, bro. You're not going to go, okay, cool, because I'm with this team, we're going to play totally different to how I think football should be played.
Exactly.
No, but at the end of the day, there needs to be plan A, plan B, plan C, plan D. That all needs to be flexible. What was one of the biggest criticisms of Wenger? The reason why they started getting mad at Wenger, even when they were finishing fourth consistently, was because they didn't think he had a plan B. They said he just had plan A, and that was it. He tried to play good football, even against teams that were by far better than him. And they would get slapped, they would get pumped. But Wenger was stubborn. He wanted to play a certain way. But Wenger commands that. He can even say he has the right to say he can do that. Wenger has the right because of what he's built for himself, the legacy he's built, what he's won playing that way. What right does Arteta have to play the way that he's playing? Or to send his team out the way that they are?
And that's why I was not getting sucked into the nonsense that Arsenal fans were saying that he came from the pep tree. He's the perfect guy for the job when he first touched down. I'm like, what's he done? Like, what has he proven that, this pep tree nonsense? What does that mean? Do you know what I mean? That means that you've been around good football. That doesn't mean that you know how to implement it. That don't mean you know what it takes to get to that level. Do you know what I mean? What are you saying? You think he gets to the end of the season?
No. I think personally for me, I think it's
Bye Arteta.
I think it's dead in the water, man. I think it's done. Like, floating duck. Floating a duck that floats on water by itself, literally surrounded by a pack of wild dogs. Like, it's only a matter of time. Yeah, cool. The dogs don't want to jump into the water because they don't want to get wet. But, bro, you're in no control of the tide. You know what I mean? And at the moment, what's happening now is, bro, he's gonna be washed ashore soon, and then gonna be eaten alive. And it's already, bro. The writing's on the wall, man.
The tide is already going in, fam. People are rolling up.
Last season, he got away with murder. I think they went on like a 10-game winless streak.
Yep.
And then
that was after beating us 1-0, by the way.
Yeah.
I think they beat you 1-0 as well, or something.
No, they beat us 3-0. That's what broke their streak.
3-0.
Yeah, that's what broke their streak. Under lamps, yeah, 3-0 at the Emirates. And that was like what saved Arteta basically, because he started the young. That's why we saw. I think Emile Smith-Rowe made his debut in that game.
Yeah,
Martinelli played, and then obviously Lacazette was there as well. So, like, at the end of the day, what it comes down to is Arsenal practically. They need to start again, rethink the whole plan that they had with Arteta that they wanted to build and start again with a new manager. That's the only way. And I feel like it sounds mad, but they're going to have to stumble across the right manager, because I don't think they really have a plan of what they want to be and who they are. They don't know who they are, man.
At all.
Like, you know the song, I know who God says I am.
He says I am.
They don't know who they are. Like, even if God were to put it on a platter for them, this is who you are, this is what you need to do, and this is how you need to be successful, they'll throw that up and put that in the bin. That tells you the issue. Do you know what I'm saying?
That Amazon doc is going to be must-see TV.
I mean, I don't know if you saw the report. That's what I was going to bring up. They apparently they're cutting out the first bit of the season.
Oh, that's actually an official report?
Bro, I mean... not official report, but by an accredited journalist still.
I wouldn't like that, man. Listen, you can't say that you want the cameras in there, and then when things aren't going well, you're saying, cut the cameras. Yeah. Like, nah, man, come on, B. You signed up for it. We want to see the journey.
Give us the full content, or you don't give us anything at all.
Exactly. Do you know what I mean? What, are you not confident that things are going to turn around? That will make the good times even sweeter when you show that it started like shit and we turned it around. It just shows that there's no confidence in the building, man. And listen, clearly that I didn't need to hear that report to know that there's no confidence at that football club.
100%, man. 100%. Cool. in terms of subject headings, that's where we'll leave it for today. But just a couple of things to touch upon. The international break, obviously, is what's going to be led for the next week or so. So we get a little bit of a break. 3 weeks of the league. We've seen 3 games. We've seen our team play 3 times. What would you say out of all the teams? So this is a chance to let's go across the league, branch out of the top 4 a bit. What would you say one thing you have learned so far from the games that we've seen?
David Moyes is the top manager, man. David Moyes is the top manager. I think yesterday they obviously didn't get the win, which was unlucky for them. Gallagher, 2 good goals, but I think they got like the second most goals in the league or something, maybe third. They've been impressive, man. Antonio, I've always been a fan of Antonio. Do you get what I mean? Because for me, it's not always about ability. Like some guys, you just want them to give you their all. Not you want them to give you their all, but that's enough. Do you get what I mean? A guy that just gives you all that he has, bro, you can't ask for much more than that. Do you get what I mean? I don't need all the talent in the world. I need 11 guys that can give me their all and a couple sprinkles of stardust. You know what I mean? Antonio is just a guy that gives everything he has, and I'm glad that he's thriving. But yeah, that's one takeaway that David Moyes, man, he's got West Ham looking good, and he's showing that last season wasn't a fluke. But now they got to do it in Europe as well, though. So that's going to be tough to juggle, Europe and the league. But
especially with the squad that they have, like,
yeah,
so So I was saying, especially with the squad that they have, like when Europe comes calling, they're gonna have to, really think about how they want to use their squad, how they're gonna manage their squad. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, that's me. Oh, that's you. What have I learned so far from the rest of the league? I think that I'm just trying to look at the table right now and see what has struck out to me the most. I think Wolves are in trouble. And they could be a sleeper relegation team as well. And the reason why I say that is because, they just completed a loan signing of Leipzig striker. I think his name is Hwang Lee. So they're trying to add firepower because they're obviously trying to address an issue that they have. Goals. They're not scoring goals. If one of the biggest things about Wolves and in the past was if Raul Jimenez wasn't scoring, who was getting them goals? Mm-hmm. And Raul Jimenez obviously coming back from a horrific injury, and I'm actually happy to see him playing. That he's still able to play. He's not had to retire and whatnot. But at the end of the day, look, reality sets in. You got to play the games that are in front of you, and they've lost 3 on the bounce. So they need to really figure out, without scoring a goal, they haven't scored a goal this season yet. So they really need to figure out, the new manager anyway, needs to figure out what he's doing with this team. How are they approaching games? What are they trying to do? Because
on that, innit?
Just very quick. They have been unlucky to a degree. Yeah. They've been unlucky. I won't even cap. But bro, 3-1 nils. Like, if you lose every single game 1-0, you can't sit here and say you are lucky. You'll get relegated. Do you know what I'm saying?
No, the most important stat at the end of the day is the table. Yeah, I mean, so that's all that matters. But you don't think Jimenez will catch form? That go back to who he was?
I think it will be. It's a tough thing to say as a guarantee. Coming back from that type of injury, there's still some
residue.
Let me, I can be honest, bro. I had a hamstring injury. Till this, I had a hamstring injury about 5 years ago. 5 years ago when I was in sixth form, and actually it's longer than that for anyone tries to calculate my age. But I had a hamstring injury, and I'll say from then, even up until now, I still can't run at my full speed because there's just that thing in my mind where I'm like, I don't want to push myself too much and risk, even though there's no risk of a hamstring injury reoccurring.
Still in your head. Still
in my mind, because I just feel like if I go my top speed, it could go at any second. Bro, Jimenez is human. No matter the support that these guys get, and they get world star medical treatment. They get the best doctors. They're still gonna be. He's still
probably even like psychological evaluations.
Yeah,
And stuff.
bro. They get everything, but he's still human. I still think he's gonna give 20% less than he used to give. That challenge in the air that he might have gone for and even won in other situations, he wouldn't go for again. Do you know what I'm saying? So look, I just don't think there's a guarantee. If he does it, bro, Wolves are okay. But I'm just going off of the fact.
No, I agree. You know what I'm saying? So, I feel bad for them, man, because if you look at them statistically, bro, they've conceded some of the least chances in the league and they've created some of the most chances in the league. Do you get what I mean? Same with like Brighton last season. If you look at where they were expected to finish statistically, so much higher than where they actually ended up. Do you get what I mean? So it just feels like they're going to be... And Brighton I think this season is when they'll actually reap the benefits. Do you get what I mean? They started the season well. Normally things will find a happy medium. With Wolves, it just feels like, as you said, if you don't have a goal scorer, you could create all the chances in the world, but you need someone to put the ball in the back of the net.
Yeah, no, 100%. Cool. Let's quickly evaluate last season's top four and look at, say, one thing we like about them and one thing we think going into the international break, the manager will be thinking about going forward to. Let's start with Man City, the champions. One thing you like about them so far?
I like that Pep's being Pep, man. Don't matter what your name is, don't matter what you've done, don't matter who you are. If you're producing, you will play. Gabriel Jesus is playing on the right and he's producing. Ferran Torres is playing up top, he's producing. Mahrez and Sterling have sat on the bench the past, I think it's 2 games. And I'd expect that to continue because Torres and Jesus are doing so well. And I like that, man. I like that you got new blood coming to the table and showing that, you know, they're ready to rise to the occasion. And I like Torres from the moment I saw him, so I think he'll produce. One thing I don't like, big games. I reckon they all struggle in big games. You know, the lack of a striker is gonna hurt them. But then again, you know, you got Pep Guardiola, he's a problem solver. Do you know what I mean? So we'll see how it goes. But they didn't look good. It was against you guys, right? Yeah, it was against you guys they lost 1-0. Was it? You guys Tottenham, yeah, 1-0. So yeah, listen, that's gonna need to change, but you know, it hasn't looked good so far.
Cool. Yeah, no. In terms of one thing I like, yeah, I agree. I would say more specifically, I just like the way Ferran Torres has started the season. I'm not really his biggest fan. I still don't particularly, I wouldn't particularly say I'm a fan of his style of play or the way he plays. But, I mean, look, Pep's teaching him how to be a goal-getter. And that's one of the biggest traits you can ever add to yourself. That's the same thing people are saying that he will add to Grealish. And I think, look, Grealish has settled down nicely as well. So I think he's trying to settle in some of the players that maybe will be called fringe players so that they can potentially become players he can rely upon even if they are on the bench. Do you know what I'm saying? Mahrez and Sterling, yeah, fair enough, they're on the bench now, but I don't expect that to continue. Do you know what I'm saying? I really don't expect that to continue at all. So, yeah, man. In terms of looking forward, one thing he might have to address, I actually think it might be the defence in the big games. Less so about the strikers. I think what happens to Man City is that when you create, you continue creating with the security of your defence, knowing that your defence will keep you sturdy. That's kind of how Liverpool played when they were at their peak. They could do anything they wanted and play any way they wanted because they knew they could defend at the back. I think they've got I think there's like a small crack where there's a lapse in they have that split second of lapse in concentration which can be punished. I think they have that in them, and I think that's something they might need to address going forward. I think they need to figure out who the main partner is. Laporta started the season well. When Stones does come back, is Stones back? I don't know. But if Stones is back or Stones is not back, whatever happens, I think they need to figure out who the defensive partner is. Obviously, the situation with Mendy doesn't help. That's one less option to have. So Zinchenko's the main left back. Are they going to quickly go get a left back, or Cancelo going to be second choice left back? Like, they just need to figure out their main defense, in my opinion, so that they can be stable. That's one thing.
I think you need a Fernandinho replacement.
Stability is important.
Yeah, I was saying I think you need a Fernandinho replacement as well, still, because Rodri's a different type of guy. He's not a destroyer the way Dino is.
I think they can wait till next year for that, though.
Yeah, maybe I'm talking long term in it, but it's hard to rely on a 36-year-old when he plays such a big role in it.
Yeah, no, definitely. Cool. Quickly, we'll move to Manchester United.
Looking good. Listen, Mason bloody Greenwood, man. That guy, I just love him, man. He's special. Goal getter, finisher, confidence never wanes. Bailed us out in back-to-back games. Shining light, man. And I think he's going to learn so much from Ronaldo. Still learn from Cavani.
Mm.
Can play anywhere on the front line, right, or centrally. I just think he's been amazing, man, and he's been given the opportunity as well. I think he's played. I think he came off once actually against Southampton. I think.
Yeah, he came off the bench in that game.
Yeah, he came off the bench, but he still got the bloody equaliser. So I just think he's been amazing, man, and glad he's got the opportunity. Issue the midfield, man. The midfield will continue to hold us back until Oli finds a solution. I think you got to strike a balance between, attacking and defending. You've got to play as a team on both sides of the ball. That's one thing that you know about City. City attack together and they defend together. Do you know what I mean? And us, that's not the case. Oli tries to do the two-man pivot so that the four attackers can go and do what they want and don't have to worry about defensive responsibilities. When really and truly that hurts us a lot. So I think we need to get, and I also think we're one of the worst passing teams in the league. We've got too many weak links when it comes to passing the ball. So I just hope, for me, the passing is the one I'll hammer down on. We have to improve our passing.
Yeah, no, 100%. Look, I think Man United. I think my thing is they just, even away from the pitch, getting Ronaldo, that's a big addition. It's obviously a statement of intent, however way you want to look at it. I love to see some United fans on Twitter trying to play down the Ronaldo move. He's going to ease himself in. He's going to... Bro, that is just not happening. Ronaldo is going to be the main focal point of the attack for the next 2 years, 1,000%. And yeah, man, look, it's a good signing. 1,000%, it's a good signing. You're signing one of the best players of our generation, still arguably in the top 2 of best players in the world right now. So yeah, man, definitely good signing there. One thing they need to figure out is just in general, like what team do they want to be? I even feel like United need to figure out what they want to be. Like, do you want to be a counter-attacking team? Obviously, to a degree, they are. I would say the goal that you scored today was as a result of a counter-attack. I think we always lost the ball in a dangerous area. Ruben Neves lost the ball in a dangerous area, and then obviously counter-attacking was able to score. But like,
that's even a rarity for us because I was even the counter press, and as I said, we don't do.
You need to figure out when and where the right places are to do that. That's the right way to phrase it. Yeah, when and where the right places are to do it. Who to do it against. When to chill. Like, do you know what I'm saying? It almost seems like when you face Man City, you know what to do against them. But then when you face other teams where you're maybe supposed to basically cut the head of the snake and literally step on it, like you're not able to do that. So yeah, man, that's one of the things there. Cool. Liverpool, what are you thinking?
Good. I say defensively, Virgil van Dijk looks good, running things at the back, comfortable on the ball. He's actually like their quarterback. Do you know what I mean? The way that he's recycling possession, feeds, gets Trent and Robertson or Tsimikas higher up the pitch, gets them the ball in the right positions. Yeah, Virgil van Dijk back, balling, that's positive. Negative, I think, or something to improve on, you got to figure out the midfield. I like the Harvey Elliott move, playing him. I think he's got potential, but you've got to, get to a position where you know your best 11. Do you know what I mean? Earlier on in the season, we saw Oxlade, we saw Naby Keita. We haven't seen Thiago, but, I think Klopp needs to figure out who we can rely on. That's been their staple. Do you know what I mean? When they were at their best, it was Fabinho, Henderson, Wijnaldum. Do you know what I mean? Who's going to be their Wijnaldum replacement? That's what you got to figure out. Figure out who you can trust. And you also got to get... I like how we also, put Firmino in because he knows that he's a presser. Do Yeah, I mean, put just to the bench. I like that little wrinkle. But you got to get more from Mane as well. I think you're not winning the league unless you get Mane back to his best.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I agree, man. I think my main thing is what you said, man. I like the fact that Van Dijk has come back looking good, looking solid, looking like the best defender in the league, the best centre back in the league. But now, man, Van Dijk's come back good, and he's come back.
The best centre back in the league.
Yeah, you find me.
Varane will argue with that today, B.
Oh, please.
Ran out of the game today, still man of the match.
Yeah, I mean, he almost cost you guys.
But hey, don't sleep. Sice is one of the best aerial players in the league, by the way. Do you know what I mean? It was Sice.
Oh, okay.
And he's a monster, like in the air. If that was Lindelof, that would have been a guaranteed goal. Do you know what I mean? So,
fair enough. Look, Van Dijk looks good. Obviously, one of the questions you had of him was first big test. Let's test out that Achilles, and I think he passed that test very, very well. So as the season goes on, we'll see how he reacts to different tests and different matchups this season. For me, again, something that isn't like immediate to the first 3 games that we've seen, but it is at the same time, is that, bro, this team might not even get top 4 if they don't get replacements for when Salah and Mane go to the AFCON. Harvey Elliott cannot be a Wijnaldum replacement and also the Salah replacement. Like, you need to get another player in. You sold Shaqiri. I'm expecting someone. Bro, this idea that Liverpool fans think that they're not signing a player because next year the club is going all out for Mbappe. Stop dreaming. Stop dreaming. Like, just stop dreaming now. Please.
You can't be thinking down the line when you got an aging team.
Again, thinking down the line is who they're even thinking down the line about. Just wake up. Like, because they saw cheeky Mbappe, LeBron James and Nike and all of that, bro.
FSG.
Come on, man. Come on. Because if you continue thinking like that, you will definitely be walking alone with that idea. So, boy, you need to fix up. But, yeah. Mane, Salah, even Naby Keita to an extent, that's one less option to have in your midfield when the AFCON comes around. Bro, you need to really figure out what you're doing with your squad, because the guys replacing those guys are not going to do the job. And that's about what? I'll say 4 games. AFCON's about four Premier League games.
Maybe more.
You could be out of the race in January.
Quarantine and all of that as well.
Yeah, bro, quarantine as well. Bro, you could be out of the title race by the time they come back. So yeah, man, that's what I think needs to be done there. And then finally, Chelsea, to wrap it all up. What do you think?
Just one of the most disciplined teams I've seen in a very long time, man. But that's the Chelsea DNA. Do you know what I mean? Be hard to beat. That's how you guys win. Tuchel, just very impressive manager, man. I just respect the discipline. Do you know what I mean? With and without the ball, there's a clear plan, clear roles. I said it last week that you men have a workman-like mentality. You come to work, you clock in, you do your shift, you go crib. Do you know what I mean? My name are just doing their assignments and calling it a day. Do you know what I mean? Something to improve on.
Not much decision making yesterday.
Yeah, I think Lukaku, man. He look good. But he's got to figure out a way to, have a second option. Because I feel like when you give him a bit of space, do you know what I mean? His dribbling's a bit suspect. We saw the memes of him slipping over the ball and all of that type of stuff. We don't want to be seeing that on a regular basis. He's got to have an A, B, and a C option. I mean, we know the goals are going to be there, but in the big games, is he going to show up? Do you know what I mean? Because when he was at United, that was the issue. Do you know what I mean? He scored against the lower level teams, but when it came to a big game, he didn't show up. So you're going to need to have an A, B, and a C, Romelu.
100%, I agree, man. Yeah, a bit similar, man. I think with Chelsea, so well coached, well disciplined, well drilled. Boy, there's a lot of positives, and I think especially in that game against Liverpool, we showed why we're the champions of Europe. That it was no fluke. Do you know what I'm saying? Showing how we don't concede cheap goals. I mean, the fact that we still have only just conceded a penalty this season just shows how good we have been defensively. The game against Crystal Palace and Arsenal, where some people might argue that, they never threatened. But I mean, I think sometimes we have to give credit to the team that is able to shut these teams out. Yeah, man, I think well coached Tuchel deserves massive credit for the way he's revamped the squad. Like I was mentioning earlier in the show, bro, these are the same crop of defenders, the same. But a large part of this team is still Lampard's team. Do you know what I mean? Like a large part of this team, a large crop of these players. I mean, Tuchel has only brought in one player to be added to this team, Romelu Lukaku. And I'm not trying to move as if the players that we have aren't quality. Like, we do have quality players, and a lot of people expected this squad to do what it's doing. But to do what it's doing now required a top quality coach, and we're lucky that we have that in Thomas Tuchel. Thing to improve on for me is definitely decision making, man. There were too many instances, not just in the Liverpool game, but even in the Arsenal game and in the Crystal Palace game, where a split second where you make a better decision creates a better chance and ultimately maybe a goal. Like, I think in the Liverpool game, we should have been out of sight before that incident with Reece James. I think there were two opportunities in particular where we could have played the final ball in earlier and we would have been in for goals that could have sealed the deal. Like, and I think 2-0, bro, I think, honestly, I believe Chelsea are probably one of the best front runners in the league right now. Like, if we go 1-0 up, it's long. Like, it's actually long for you.
Let alone 2-0.
Exactly. And that was where that was my thinking. Like, decision making would have made it, like, made us clear as day, out of sight. And you go to Anfield, win 2-0, bro, everyone's saying you're winning the league. Do you know what I mean? Everyone's coming out. Big statement. So, but can't complain at the 1-1. So, all is well. But yeah, man, it's been three up top. Fatigue is really kicking me today, fam. It's fighting my English. I don't know why. But I mean, I hope everyone has a great bank holiday weekend, bank holiday Monday, wherever you are. Hope you're enjoying this episode. Josh was missing today. Don't worry, we won't tell the people where you are. He had a business trip, like that little business trip that people tell you that they go on. Nah, man. Appreciate obviously Highpress Media once again for pushing us and whatnot. Free up top, we're going global, baby. We're going to the top.
But hey, let us know your thoughts, man. Let us know in the comments what you think about all the topics that we touched on. Top 4 teams around the league, breakout players, etc. Yeah, man. Let us know what you think. Like, comment, subscribe, keep showing love, and we appreciate.
That's all you need to do, by the way. Subscribe to the Highpress Media YouTube page, man. For sure, man. That's where you'll see our faces a lot more when it comes to free up top content. And yeah, man, bro, you want to see our faces, man. You want to see us talk football. And obviously, let us know what you think, man. Debate with us. We want to know. We want to get into the conversation. So, yeah, man. It's been the guys. It's been Dan the man with a plan. And it's been
Darren the blood clot cannon.
For sure, man. Free up top. We out.
Deuces.